Hello coders, I hope you are coding well. In the previous video, we implemented the pagination and we displayed the rooms data in our Angular application. And in today's video, we will create getRoomById API call in our Spring Boot application. And after this, we will test this API in the Postman. So let's get started. So in our Spring Boot application, we need to open room service implementation, and in this class we need to create a new method, and this method will return room DTO, and we will name this method as getRoomById. And in the params of this method we need to accept the room ID, so we will mention long and we will name this as ID. And in the body of this method we will create one optional variable of room, and we will import it from hotel server dot entity. And after this we will name this as optional room, and after this we will use room repository, and we will call a method find by id, and in the params of this method we will pass the id. And after this we need to check the availability of this optional room, so we will write if condition, and in this we will use optional room, and we will call a method is present, and if it is true then we will write a return statement, and we will use optional room. And after this we will call get and then get room DTO method to convert the room to the room DTO. And after this we will write else case, and in the body we will write throw new, and after this we need to throw an exception, so we will mention entity not found exception, and for the message we will pass room not present. And with this our getRoomById method is completed in room service implementation. Now let's copy this, and after this we will open rooms service and we will paste it here. And after this we need to create an endpoint to call this method, so we will open rooms controller, and in this we will start writing a new method, and this method will return response entity. And after this we will name this method as getRoomById, and after this we will mention @path variable annotation, and the data type of this will be long, and we will name this as id. And in the body of this method we will write a try block, and in this try block we will write a return statement, and we will use response entity. And after this we will call OK method, and here we will use rooms service, and we will call a method getRoomById, and in the params of this method we will pass id. And after this we will write a catch block, and in this catch block we will catch entity not found exception, and after this we will name this as e. And in the body of this block we will write a return statement, and we will use a response entity. And after this, to set the status we will call status method, and in this we will pass http status dot not found. And after this, to set the body we will call dot body method, and in this we will pass e dot get message. And after this we will write another catch block, and in this catch block we will catch exception, and we will name this as e. And after this, in the body of this block we will write a return statement, and after this we will mention response entity, and we will call a method status, and in this we will return http status dot internal server error. And after this, to set the status we will call dot body method, and in this we will pass something went wrong. And at the end we will annotate this method with @getMapping annotation, and for the URL we will set /room/id. And with this our getRoomById API call is completed. Now let's run our application. And as you can see our application is up on port 8080 without any errors. Now let's go to the Postman and let's test our getRoomById API call. And in the Postman, from the request types we need to select get, and after this we need to give the basic URL, which is http localhost 8080, and after this we need to give the controller URL, which is api/admin, and after this we need to give the endpoint URL, which is /room. And after this we need to pass the room ID, and let's give it as 100. And after this let's open the authorization tab, and in this tab for the type we need to select bearer token, and in this input we need to pass the JWT token. So let's go to the login API call, And in the login API call, let's add the details of the admin user and let's click on this send button. And as you can see, we got the JWT. Now let's copy this and let's go back to the API. And after this, let's paste the JWT token here and let's click on this send button to call the API. And as you can see, we got 404 not found, and for the message we got room not present because we gave the room ID as 100, which is not there in the DB. Now let's give the room ID as 1 and let's click on this send button. And as you can see, we got 200 OK this time, and in the response body we can see the data of the room with the ID 1. And that's it for today's video. In the next video we will write the code to call this API from Angular application.